Clancy is a great album, but sonically it's a mess. Each song feels like its own world, giving you sonic whiplash the moment one song ends and another one begins. The songs in isolation are fantastic, it's just that when listening to the album front to back, the experience feels a bit incohesive. The album definitely feels unique, it's just that when looking at other releases by the band, such as Vessel, Breach, or Trench, it just does not feel the same way, I think. The songs don't flow into each other as well as they do in those other albums. Clancy does have some elements that make it flow nicely, however, so let me break those down real quick and then we can get into how the 13 tracks feel like they struggle to belong together. There is two main lyrical themes that I noticed throughout the album, which are coldness and addiction. Addiction is simple since Tyler Joseph stated himself that it's about addiction, and then there is also a lot of other songs that are about relapsing and backsliding. And regarding the coldness, there is a lot of references to just feeling cold, such as Midwest Indigo, backslide as well regarding like drowning in water or like reaching your hand above the tide. There is also navigating, which literally mentions cold, and then there is also Paladin Strait, since it's literally swimming through a strait. There is some cohesiveness for sure. However, if I have to be completely honest, I'm not really complaining about the lyrics in the album. I'm more talking about the genre blending that we're used to. I'm more thinking about how nicely it flows sonically. 21 Pilots are usually good at making records sound lyrically cohesive, is what I'm getting at. So when looking at Clancy from a sound point of view, I think that the grittiness and the playfulness are what kind of ties a lot of the songs together. The grit is definitely very present in the first two tracks of the album, Jumps to the Next Semester, and you can also notice it in Navigating and at the Risk of Feeling Dumb to some extent. And when it comes to vocal delivery, Midwest Indigo and The Craving surprisingly have very raw singing. However, playfulness is what I think is the signature of Clancy, similarly to how it is in Vessel. You can tell if a song is playful judging by if there is odd rhythms, if it's there is some asyncopated melodies, or just sounds that don't feel bombastic as much as they do lighthearted. I mean, think of the Overcompensate's bridge. By the way, I gotta ask you here, am I crazy or does the Overcompensate bridge sound like the Circus theme song? Like ba 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 da ba da ba 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 da. Feel like a perfect length, I don't need them any longer. That it's kind of funny, so that's definitely playful. Then there is the backslide outro. Then there is Midwest Indigo as a whole, I think. Lavish as a whole. Let's see, I think, yeah, Vignette synth solo as well. That's very playful. At the Risk of Feeling Dumb, I mean, a lot of the songs generally feel very playful in Clancy. I think it's generally what sets the record apart from other records they've done. Well, why is it disjointed then? I mean, I just don't think that listening to the record beginning to end provides as rich of an experience as Trench or even Breach does. I feel like the songs just feel like they're so all over the place when it comes to the sound and the atmosphere they set that it doesn't feel like as much of an experience as it does a collection of great songs, which it's not bad necessarily. It's just that when I look for a 21 Pilots album, I look for a beginning to end experience more than a collection of songs. I don't think Overcompensate is what set the atmosphere for the era and for the record. What did is this video here. We all know this banger of a video, and I'll have to be honest, this video was extremely hype when it came out. You all know that. You all know that because it was insane. I think this into Overcompensate.
I am an exception. I am returning to Trench.
Yes. When this came out, holy shit. Oh, man. I'm Torchbearer is not as good as this, I think. I'm Clancy is amazing. But either way, this leads into Overcompensate, right? And I mean, okay, look. Overcompensate sets the atmosphere. It's the opening track. It's what sets the standards for the upcoming songs. It's what the listener expects the future songs to sound like, so automatically it just sets the expectations. The song begins with a 1.5 minute long, almost drum and bass section. Feels like to me. What I think is most important here is mentioning, other than the whole lyrics that are spoken in the French, Spanish, and German, there is also the whole welcome back to Trench. And ignoring the music video, the whole song sets the atmosphere of, okay, We're going back to Trench's storytelling. We're going back to the narrative. Generally, it makes the listener think that we're getting back into cryptic and synth-heavy songs, possibly even more synth-heavy, judging by how Overcompensate sounds compared to Jumpsuit. But looking forward, overall, I think Overcompensate sets some expectations that are never really fulfilled. So Overcompensate is a huge lore-heavy statement, right? And it feels like more experimental than other songs that the band's done before, and once it concludes, we're like, whoa, this is so exciting, we're getting back in the world of Trench, the sound is so heavy and so synthy and all that. What's the next song after Overcompensate? It's a punk pop anthem, which has nothing to do with the lore. The production feels clean. It feels cleaner than Overcompensate, I think. The vocals sound really clean, it doesn't, except for like I think the last chorus. The drums are somewhat quiet throughout the song, it's just, it doesn't really sound or feel the same as Overcompensate, I think. And not in a genre blending kind of way. I just feel like the songs have literally nothing going on between the two. You're in one type of mood for Overcompensate, and then there is Next Semester that has nothing to do with anything. Like the instrumentation has nothing to do with Overcompensate. There is ukulele, bass, drums, and of course the vocals. Other than that, there's nothing that has to do anything to do with Overcompensate. Nothing carries over from Clancy's opener, nothing whatsoever. It just makes it a bit of an awkward second step into the album. It just clashes, man. I don't know. I really like Next Semester. I think it's an awesome song. It's just that it also does not lead well into Backslide. Backslide is a very aggressive pivot away from the sound that both Overcompensate and Next Semester set. It's got very meaty verses, paired with what to me sounds like a trap-like beat going in the background, and a more playful sound, thinking of the flute that plays in the background of the chorus, and of course the outro, which I've mentioned earlier. And these just kind of go against the heavy and gritty sound that Overcompensate set, or the punk, rock, pop vibes that Next Semester had. And I mean, I know that old 21 Pilots music is generally considered to be pop or alt pop, but here we're talking about the genres that are being sprinkled on top of the songs. Otherwise we could all just say, oh, these are all pop songs, so they all fit perfectly, and the video would be about 20 seconds long. Though I do think that Backslide actually goes decently into Midwest Indigo. The plucked guitar-like thing at the end of Backslide, it kind of matches the playfulness that Midwest Indigo has throughout. And also another thing that I really like that I've noticed after listening to the album probably like 100 times is that with how heavy Backslide feels and how low-tone heavy it feels, the fact that the first chorus of Midwest Indigo has literally no low tones whatsoever, it makes it feel like a massive breath of fresh air, even if it's cold. Both songs also have motifs when it comes to water, ice, and cold in general that make them bond together better than Next Semester and Overcompensate would. I think they're kind of on par with Morph and My Blood fitting together. However, we get into Routines in the Night, and you want to hear my hot take? I do not like this song. I think Raw Fear is better. Raw Fear is Routines in the Night, but not boring. Either way, this is not why we're here. I cannot really point out why, but to me the song feels very awkward after Midwest Indigo. It's not playful, it's not that gritty, I think it's just very poppy. I just generally cannot point out why I find them awkward. I think there should have been another song between Midwest Indigo and Routines in the Night to make the transition smoother. However, what I think is quite smooth is Routines in the Night into Vignette, and then there is Vignette that talks about it having been a long night. It makes the two songs feel connected just through the lyrics alone. I think the production of both songs, specifically the synths that are being used, they definitely sound like they came from the same box, which helps with the cohesiveness a lot. Yeah, both songs, both Routines in the Night and Vignette are very electronic songs, which relate to Overcompensate, which is a bit too late now to do. And the playfulness that Vignette has with the synth solo at the end, it would lead well into Lavish, however we got the Craving first. And okay, look, the Craving is an interlude, all Jana songs are. And while we're in the interlude, I'd really appreciate it if you could drop a like or subscribe to the channel in case you're interested in seeing more. Or you could check out my tier list where I compare Breach and Trench to see how alike the two albums are, track by track. Okay, but getting back into it, is Lavish an interlude? What even is Lavish? I don't understand. I feel like, so the song is very playful, the bass line literally going like whom, whum. It just feels very jokey in a good way, but it has nothing to do with any other song on this album. The lyrics as well make it very playful and just do not belong with the rest of the song, especially the songs that are surrounding it, The Craving and Navigating. It would feel okay next to Vignette because of the playfulness, but the way it stands between the acoustic The Craving and the punk, rock, pop Navigating, it just, it leaves a really bad taste in my mouth, I think. Okay, here I think is where the cohesiveness of the album takes a nosedive, because we got Navigating, right? Which, as I said, is again kind of similar to Next Semester. But after Navigating, we've got Snapback, which goes back to the backslide sound, so we can already tell there is some clash going on there. Then we get into Oldie Station, and then at the risk of feeling that, like, expect me to be upset for the next few songs. There's definitely more electronic elements in this song, with the arpeggiator in the background of the verses, which really reminds me of, what is it called? I don't watch it. I think it's Stranger Things. Yeah, it's just that. I think Lavish to Snapback, the sonic whiplash generally rivals what was there between Overcompensate and Backslide. But yeah, track 8, 9, and 10 on this album should not be near each other whatsoever. I think Navigating should have been in Breach, and some other song should have been in place of it. I don't think these songs belong together at all. I mean, if you disagree, let me know how, because I just think these songs have nothing to do with each other. Yeah, Snapback, I just said that it has nothing to do with Navigating. I think it would have fit better somewhere around like Vignette and Routines in the Night. So yeah, that's about it. The slower pacing as well, it makes it a less harsh transition than it would have been with Navigating to Oldie Station, but it doesn't help much. Okay, so let me take a look at my notes here regarding Oldie Station. What makes Snapback and Oldie Station belong together? So the slower pacing and nothing. Of course. I mean, the guitar that plays at the end of the second chorus in the bridge, I think. That, I guess, could sound like the guitar in Snapback's outro. Okay, so At the Risk of Feeling Dumb is a very interesting song. I think sonically it's the heart of Clancy. It's got the playfulness, it's got the grit, it's got the catchiness. The only thing that doesn't really belong with other songs on here is the reggae elements to the song, but I think everything else going on triumphs over the reggae elements. The chorus is very playful, and then there is the post-chorus, which is very gritty, which makes this song feel like it could fit anywhere on Clancy, but not between Oldie Station and Paladin Straight. They're both slower songs, they're both very atmospheric songs, and not playful. That's the thing. A lot of songs in Clancy are playful, but not Oldie Station or Paladin Straight. Why is At the Risk of Feeling Dumb the 12th song on the record? It's a shame because I think it's my favorite song on Clancy, but it should not be here. It should have been somewhere like, I think it should have been placed somewhere around like Next Semester or like Navigating. Just the whole record should have been rearranged, honestly. And just doesn't lead into Paladin Straight well at all. Like, the only thing that makes me think it could lead well is the snare reverb, like that, I guess, gives it a bit of a more trippy atmosphere that goes well with the beginning of Paladin Straight being like or whatever. And now guess what? With Paladin Straight, we're back into lore talk. Of course, because remember in Overcompensate, we had lore, and then we didn't touch on it ever again. I think Paladin Straight would have worked out perfectly after Oldie Station. Both songs feel very emotional for different reasons. Oldie Station feels very emotional from a lyrical standpoint, while Paladin Straight feels very emotional from the way it sounds and how, I don't know, it feels like I'm ascending whenever I hear the outro of Paladin Straight. And I think if Oldie Station and Paladin Straight were put next to each other, that would honestly work pretty well. But At the Risk of Feeling Dumb, of course, had to ruin everything. And just generally the cryptic lyrics at the end after like the minute of bird sounds, they just clash with the rest of the album. It's only Overcompensate that had cryptic on your face lyrics. Like the fact that there is a minute of bird sounds, which already kind of halts the pacing of the finale. The lyrics at the end clash with the rest of Clancy, but it does lead into City Walls amazingly. I mean, holy crap, those two songs together. First of all, that's like a whole 12-minute experience, I think, which is crazy. If we're looking at Clancy alone, man, Paladin Straight is nothing like most of the songs of the album, similarly to what Overcompensate is. And the way I would describe Clancy is controlled chaos, but I personally just prefer when one of their albums is more sonically predictable. Yeah, I think Clancy is emotionally messy. It's strangely compelling. I think the way that it feels very all over the place, it makes it feel more unique than other albums. And you could argue that Skilled and Icy is also quite all over the place, but I think that that one was not as intentional as Clancy is. I'm not a Skilled and Icy hater, I'm just stating the facts. I know that 21 Pilots are known to make what I saw people calling schizophrenic pop. Let me know if that's even acceptable to say, because it feels weird, to be honest, to call it that. So yeah, of course the records feel all over the place genre-wise. After all, they like to blend genres all together all the time. Now I'm wondering, if it flowed like Trench or Breach did, would it lose its identity, do you think? I got a little challenge for you. I'd like to see how you would rearrange the album Clancy so that it would feel like the songs flow into each other better. And the one that compels to me the most, I'll make a short about. I'll listen to it and see how I feel about it. If I agree with you, if I think it actually makes it better, or if somehow you made it worse. I think that could be a fun little challenge we can have in the comments. Clancy is a solid, I think I gave it an 8 out of 10. I really appreciate the album. It's just that the cohesiveness is what's missing. But yeah, either way, thank you so much for being here, and take care.